In this video, I'm going to take you through the Facebook conversion campaign for my song Again and Again, which currently stands at around 42,000 streams on Spotify. And if you're not familiar with the whole Facebook conversion ad thing, going to Spotify and other streaming services, essentially what we're doing is in our Facebook/Instagram ad, we're sending people to a landing page like this. And on that landing page, we're tracking when people click certain buttons on here, or any of these buttons, and that's what counts as a conversion to the campaign. And so if we look at the Spotify stats, one of the reasons why I use Facebook ads as by far my biggest form of paid marketing is the data is really good. So I'm just looking at the last 12 months. The song came out on September 16th, it looks like. We got 42,000 streams from about 10,000 listeners. So people are listening on average 4 times so far. That number generally goes up over time. And we got 3,200 saves. So the save rate is like a 30-ish%, right? Which is, if you saw my video on a playlist service recently that you can check out here, the complete contrast in data, right? It's just a totally different thing. Playlist ads are also quite high. So from running the Facebook ad campaign, I get added to 1,664 playlists on the song so far. Most just individual user playlists that, they add to when they're going to the gym or driving in their car. But these metrics are good signs to Spotify. I mean, they list them here for you to look at. So obviously they're important, right? So that's the data here. Now, I want to point out that the song is it got some algorithmic spikes. So, I mean, it came out, we got a little bit of like a release radar algorithmic thing here. We got a little bit here and another one here. But we're also getting some Discover Weekly. So all these little Monday spikes, like right here, that's a Monday spike. And over here, that's a very small Monday spike. And then coming up here, Monday spike, random Wednesday spike, Monday spike. So, we're getting a little bit of love from Discover Weekly. We get a little bit of love from Release Radar, and that's kind of the purpose of these campaigns. So, with that being said, I want to show you the Facebook ad campaign, and we're going to make a new one from scratch as well, so you can see exactly how to do this. Now, I'm showing 2 campaigns here because I want to kind of compare and contrast. So this is something that a lot of people don't realize. One of the biggest factors in how your song performs on ads is just the song itself. I'm essentially doing the same style of videos for both of these, targeting largely the same audiences between these 2 songs. One of the songs just does better. So we're looking at Again and Again here, coming in at 34 cents a conversion, which doesn't seem like that's okay. But when you factor in the missed conversions, like when we look at the Tone Analytics, the Feature FM Analytics, we actually had 7,100 conversions, 7,105 from our Facebook campaign, comparing that to the 5,160 from Facebook ads. So if you do the math on the actual cost per conversion, it's about 25 cents. So this is why I consider this a pretty good campaign. Not the best, but pretty good. And you compare this to Never, which I haven't done the math on with the actual conversion rate on that, but the Facebook ad cost is, like a good 50% higher than Again and Again. So that's just natural song-to-song differences. There's ways to bring numbers down in campaigns, but every song kind of has its ceiling or floor, I guess, in terms of how low it can really go. But this is the campaign that we, for that song, and we're going to be making a campaign from scratch so you can see exactly how to do it. All right, so to start, we're just going to create a new campaign here by clicking the big green Create button. And I'm going to click on Engagement because in that objective we can do conversions. I wouldn't use the sales option, even though you can do a conversion campaign in there, because it's going to be looking for people likely to buy something. You could use the leads objective, but I use the engagement objective because it's the most accurate to what we're actually doing here. And when you click that, it's going to bring us into the campaign creation dialog. And so I'll just call this Test Streaming, just for a name. I'm going to turn on this campaign budget optimization thing, now called Advantage Campaign Budget Plus, because Facebook is always changing stuff, and you just set your daily budget to whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable doing. If this is your first time ever doing this, I would just do $10 a day. I wouldn't go more than that, because you want to verify this stuff is working for you before you spend too much money. $10 a day is kind of the minimum I'd recommend doing also. So let me click Next, and now we're into the ad set, and this is where we define our audience and a few other things as well. So you can notice it's the ad set over here. If I zoom in a bit, we have campaign, ad set, and ad, and also at the top we have campaign, ad set, and ad. So that's the structure of how these campaigns actually work. Our conversion location is specifically happening on a website, right? Because we're going to have a page like this, and I'll show you a little bit about how to make a page like this further in the video. But our conversion's happening on a website, right? Because it's not happening on Facebook. It's happening on that web page that we're using. Now, we have to tell Facebook what conversion event that we're tracking. This is going to be different for every landing page service you use. And if you're really confused about the Facebook Pixel and how it works and how to install it and how to test it, I have a dedicated video up here on everything musicians need to know about the Facebook Pixel. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to choose the Pixel that I need to use. For Feature FM, it's this custom conversion. For Hyped It, it would be this custom conversion. And for Toned In, it would be View Content. So it's different for whatever platform you're using. So now we have our conversion event. So now Facebook understands what is the goal of this campaign. The goal of this campaign is to get as many people to click one of these buttons as possible. They don't care how many people see the ad, how many people click in the ad, just how many people convert from the ad. And now we can go down to the audience section here. I like to change the country stuff to people just living in this location. And that just avoids people who are traveling, essentially. So now I have a special trick here that you might not know. You can actually copy and paste countries into here. So I have a spreadsheet that's in my course. And if you don't have my course and interested, I have a link up here, but also in the description. And that's one of the perks you get if you're in my course. You get the spreadsheet that I always keep up to date with whatever countries I'm using at the time. And if you ever book a consultation call with me, I also give it to people on the call as well if they want it. So yeah, if you want my exact country list, that's there. And so you can just paste them in there and bam, now we have all the countries in. You don't have to type them in one by one. So now we get to the ages. And this is really depending on your genre. If you're doing like pop, EDM, hip hop, like I would think generally 18 to 40, 18 to 45. I always go a little broader than I think I need. I probably did something like this. I'm kind of like electronic pop rock, I guess. And now we can put in some targeting stuff, right? So I'm going to do Spotify, just because I'm trying to further make sure that people are clicking this or coming to Spotify particularly. But you could also put Apple Music here, so then it's like either or. But I click this Define Further button, so now it's Spotify. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that. I click this Define Further button here, so now it's Spotify and must also match. And then in here, you could do something like an artist or a genre or multiple artists or multiple genres. It really depends on the audience size. Estimated audience size here is like 5-point-something million. That's a fair size to start with. It's different for every genre, though. There's no magic audience size that you should use or shouldn't use. I generally wouldn't go less than like 2 million people though, per ad set. So now we can go to placements. I would recommend if you're starting for your first campaign, just run Instagram. Turn off the shopping stuff, turn off Explore Home, and I would say as your first campaign ever, do this. In the past, I didn't use Reels. I've started using it now after I saw a lot of people I talked to on calls get good results with it, and it's been working fine for me. So these 4 placements for Instagram. Now I'm going to click next. Actually, first I'm going to go back here. I want to name this. I'm going to call this tier 1/2 because those are the countries that I'm using. I'm going to say IG because I'm just targeting Instagram. I'm going to say Lincoln Park because that's what we're targeting. So now I can go into the ad itself. And this is where you're going to have to upload your video. I would turn off multi-advertiser ads. And then to upload your video, we just do media, add video. We're going to see all the videos that I've used in ads. You could just click upload here. I'll just choose verse 1 here because I already have it uploaded. If your video is vertical and you want it to look better in feeds, you could just choose like 1 by 1 for feed and it'll crop it for feed placements, but stories will look vertical. Or vice versa. If you had a square or something else and you want it to be vertical for stories, you can just automatically crop it. It's pretty simple. I'm just going to leave it original for now because it does take a minute to process when you do the crop. So now we have our ad in there. Oh yeah, and I didn't design it for square. I designed it for 4 by 5. Now for primary text, I usually do stuff like this. Alternative electronic rock. Again and again, I've come to see your lies. This is just kind of describing the music to people so that they know if the song's for them right off the bat. And then a lyric quote from the song. Something like that. I wouldn't put like new song out now, listen to my song, all that stuff. Try to make it tell a story if you can, or put lyrics that are captivating, or just straight up say what the song is. That I found works better. Now, the call to action, this is what actually shows up on the ad as a button. So there's like I don't know why it's not showing here, but there's a listen now button For some reason, when the preview loads, it's like removing it, but that's what the call to action is. We want listen now because it's the most relevant. So now when it comes to the website URL, this is a deep topic, right? And I recommended that pixel video I showed earlier to set up your landing page. There are 3 options that I think you should use, that you could use in this situation. You could use ToneDen, which has a free plan, which makes it really good for people getting started, but it's definitely not the best in terms of analytics. Essentially, the analytics are by far the worst out of these 3, but it's free. Hyped It, which has way better analytics than ToneDen, and it also supports a bunch of other pixels, and it's only $9.99 a month. I do have an affiliate link in the description if you want to check that out. And then 3 is Feature FM, which has essentially all the analytics that Hyped It has, and it has other features as well. I have a dedicated video on that here if I have enough cards to even link that up there. But all links in the description. You can check out those 3 platforms, check them out, see which one works best for you. So once you have that link, it should look something like this. I would recommend if you have a small audience, just do Spotify, Apple Music so that you're not diluting your results. I have like 40-ish thousand monthly listeners, so I'm kind of trying to, I've been trying to diversify most of this year. I want to like have a bigger audience on Apple and YouTube so that it's kind of coming up closer to the level of my Spotify. So that's why I'm adding in more services here. So once you have that link, you essentially just copy it and throw that in here. And now this domain thing, don't worry about it too much right away. It's really confusing and I don't want to get into it here. If I have a card left to put up there, I'll put up a video on what that's all about here. It's kind of a deep topic, so don't stress too much about it. Now, I'm going to just call this Add One. And like at this point, we have the skeleton of our campaign. So I'm going to go to Add One and I'm going to quickly duplicate it. And I'll zoom in a bit. And I'm going to call this Add Two. Then I'm going to go on this one and I'm going to quickly duplicate it. And I'm going to do Add Three. And I'm going to go to this guy, this audience here, right? This is our audience. I'm going to quickly duplicate that. And now notice how all the ads copied over too. So we have an audience here and an audience here. Here, we're going to try something different in terms of targeting. So I can go down here. Maybe instead of Linkin Park, I'm just going to go generic and do Post Malone. Now, one thing to point out is Linkin Park has only like 4 million people in this audience right here. Post Malone is like 10. So for Linkin Park, I kind of want to bundle them with other things. So I kind of chose them because they're kind of like they're a rock, but they're also pop and they have some electronic elements. So because of that, I'll pair them with like Bring Me the Horizon. I'm not really going after them because of the whole nu metal thing. And so now they're more similar in size. I try to roughly balance my audience sizes if I can. I can go up here and call this Post Malone. And I can do this again. And I'm going to explain why we're doing this in a moment. And let's see, what else could we target here that might be relevant? I'm going to do electronic rock to show you an example of when you use multiple things. This is a much smaller genre, right? It's like less than 100,000 people. So I'm going to click Suggestions. And some of these might be good and some of these might be bad. I'm going to choose 9 Inch Nails because they definitely fall into that. I'm going to choose Marilyn Manson because he definitely falls into that. Falling in Reverse is a little heavier for this, but they technically could work. And Depeche Mode could work. And I'm trying to just get this audience size up to be roughly 10 million people because then it'll be very comparable to the other one that I have. And so new wave music might make sense. And that brings us up to our 10 to 12 million. So now all 3 of our audiences are balanced in size, essentially. And this, I probably wouldn't run this exact one. I would spend more time tinkering with specifically which artists I want, just so that they're more similar per audience. But just for the sake of we're not wasting your time, that's what I'm going to stop there. Now I want to explain why we're doing this. The purpose of this, we have 3 videos, ideally different parts of the song. So like verse 1, chorus, pre-chorus. Verse 1, chorus, pre-chorus. Verse 1, chorus, pre-chorus, right? So it's the same 3 ads across 3 different audiences. So we have 9 ads across 3 audiences. So initially we're testing out like to see which different part of the song gets the best conversion rate. It's not always the chorus. That's why we're testing different parts of the song. But we're also testing out different audiences because we have no way of knowing for sure which audience is going to work best. You might think you sound exactly like one artist, but for whatever reason, either it's because those fans don't like it as much as you thought, or the competition's higher because Facebook's an auction at the end of the day, that audience might not work well. So these are guesses. I'm guessing that electronic rock, Linkin Park, and Post Malone may be reasonable targets. And we're going to test that hypothesis by spending money on this ad and then seeing what happens. So we're trying to kind of like A/B test, but it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G testing, right? We're testing multiple variables at a time and letting Facebook figure out what works best. So for a $10 a day campaign, that's what I meant to put here, if this is your first one, this is the biggest campaign I would make, 9 ads. I wouldn't go more than that. So whether that's 2 audiences with 4 ads in each, or that's 3 audiences with 3 ads in each. So, you don't want less than $1 per ad per day, essentially. So once you were to publish this campaign, if you were to publish it, you would start seeing cost per result. And I can actually show you that because I could go into this again and again campaign. Ignore the green. That's just because it's in draft. This is everything for the again and again campaign. And here, we tested out alt rock, Imagine Dragons and Friends, Bring Me the Horizon, 30 Seconds to Mars, alternative metal narrated by electronic music, electronic rock, and Linkin Park. And you can see the drastic variance in price here. I can't zoom in to show you, but if you can squint a little bit, 30 Seconds to Mars was 83 cents, right? And alternative rock was 32 cents. That's more than a factor of 2 in cost per conversion. And same with Imagine Dragons and Friends, 31 cents. If I go into Imagine Dragons and Friends, again, ignore the green, that's the in-draft thing we just made. And in fact, let me go over here. I actually don't need this campaign because I'm not going to publish it, so I'm just going to delete it. Delete. Now it's gone forever. So I'm going to look at the Again and Again campaign. We're going to look at Imagine Dragons and Friends. And we can see how these ads perform. And I might be able to zoom in a little bit. So this ad here, verse 1, part 2, 30 cents a conversion. But verse 2, part 2 costs 46 cents a conversion. And last chorus costs 34. So you can see, like, the chorus, I tested chorus 2 in another ad set, and it did really badly, so I just stopped publishing it. But last chorus did worse than verse 1, part 2, and the intro, which is surprising. Usually intros do awful, but in this case, it did pretty good. So this is why it's always good to test multiple parts of the song and multiple audiences, because you really have no way of knowing what's going to work. You can make a reasonable guess, but until you actually spend some money and figure it out, you have no idea. So you might have noticed when I was showing you this that the total ad spend in this campaign is $1,741. And so there's a whole discussion you could have about, is that worth it or not? In this case, this is kind of promoting 2 songs because I did a waterfall strategy. You can check out a video here from if I have enough cards left to check out the waterfall strategy. So this is kind of for 2 songs in a way, and this song's doing well, so I'm spending more than I normally would. But in terms of is it worth it? We could look at the Spotify artists 40,000 streams. In terms of money, absolutely not. But I gained 3,200 saves, 1,664 playlist ads, and a whole bunch of followers on Spotify as well, including social media followers, YouTube subscribers, etc. So it's not just the streams that you're gaining when you run this. There are a lot of side effects. But for comparison's sake, I want to show you this, just a very brief look at this campaign, or the song Sunrise that I did. That it's at 200,000 streams. I don't remember the total budget for this song, but it was less than 1,000. And the campaign was over by here. This is about 11 months ago. I stopped spending money on it 11 months ago. Everything after that is free, right? It's the aftershock of the campaign. Imagine it's so to speak the shock wave. If there's an explosion somewhere, then there's a shock wave that ripples out for a lot longer than the actual explosion. That's kind of what this is like. You pump some ads into it, you turn them off. It's not like it goes to nothing. It keeps going, and you get these algorithmic spikes that can happen long after. This was completely unexpected, right? So that's kind of the goal of this. And if you want to learn more about how the whole money side of things works, you can check out this video right here where I go into that and actually show a campaign where I profited doing this stuff. And if you want to learn more about my course and get access to a community and get access to my country spreadsheet and the placement stuff, you can check out this thing right here. That's my course. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye.